humble, I'm sure. But another thing too, as Brother Mark brought up, even though we understand it, we should still pray for each other so that all of us will remember it, because how he gave a good description of someone in his family was brought up under the Sabbath, but is now more of a Sunday keeper than Sabbath keeper. So there's always that potential that any of us might slip out of the Sabbath.
Clarence is pointing out that, I'll just summarize it in my own words, that we need to have a better explanation to people who are Sunday keepers in order for them to appreciate Sabbath rest. And here it is, that it's not a work strip, it's not trying harder to keep the Sabbath, it's a faith appreciation. Okay, that's the new covenant motivation. It's a faith that's motivated by agape. And people who, if you ask most Sunday keepers why they observe Sunday as the day of worship, what will their answer be? Well, we do it in honor of the resurrection of Christ on the first day of the week. Okay? In other words, it's our freedom day, it's our liberation day. You guys keep the seventh-day Sabbath because you're trying to work your way to heaven. That's another merit salvation. That's the impression that they have. And I say, and how in the world could I have ever given them that impression? Because I've been teaching that the Sabbath is rest. It's God's rest. And somehow I've left the wrong impression there. And so today's Sabbath school lesson, what have we learned, class? That we need a new motivation for remembering the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And that is not out of an interest of self-motivation, which is an eros-based motivation. Lord, I'm going to keep the Sabbath. I'm going to try harder now. After I've heard that lesson, I'm all jazzed up. I'm going to do just so and so. All that the Lord has said, we will do. And I have fallen right back into what trap? The old covenant. You see. And agape is the fulfilling of the law. What I have done is actually observe the Sabbath against the law. I have observed the Sabbath unlawfully by making promises to God that I'm going to keep it.
For me, in doing it that way, it was burdensome. Because I fell away from keeping it that way. I was taught how to keep it the way my mother taught me, because she didn't really know how.
Right.
Coming from Catholic and then coming into Adventism, she was really never taught. She just went to church. And so she taught us the best she knew how, but it was burdensome.
Sure.
And I fell away from that.
Right.
So to me, it's got to be some kind of experience.
Experience?
A holy experience. To experience the holiness of that day.
Well,
if you're going to explain it to anybody.
Again, this is a challenging statement from Sister White way back from 1851. At the commencement of the time of trouble, we were filled with the Holy Ghost as we went forth and proclaimed the Sabbath more fully. How do we proclaim the Sabbath more fully? If I, in my evangelism and in my teaching, have left the evangelica, have left my own congregation with the feeling that the Sabbath is a legalistic burden that has to be done in order for salvation, then I've obviously missed the boat, and I'm not teaching the Sabbath more fully. And so it has to come about from a new covenant, agape motivation, and that cannot come from myself. It has to be imported into my heart by a faith appreciation of what it cost the Son of God to die for me on the cross. There is an intimate connection between the Sabbath and the cross and the cleansing of the sanctuary truth. They go together. And the Sabbath is the seal of God. The seal of God is the agape of God. And it's the only way to love is the fulfilling of the law. Amen. Agape is the fulfilling of the law. Eros self-interest to keep the Sabbath so I can get a reward in heaven and avoid hell is a legalistic motivation for keeping the Sabbath. Yeah.
Would you say another way to approach this is just like how you guys' fourth commandment, that we do this out of an godly love? We keep all of the 10 commandments.
Yeah. All right, he's asked a really important question, and that is, we know that if you break one commandment, you've broken them all. And this is the problem with evangelicalism. They have rejected the heart and soul of the 10 Commandments and the Sabbath, and consequently, they have no bulwark against all the rest of them. No bulwark against adultery, thievery, dishonesty, murder, because they don't understand the agape motivation. And the same is true for legalists who observe the Sabbath. If the agape motivation is there, we're wide open to infidelity. Yes.
I can't find it, but it said, I read that if they refused or cannot enter into my rest, they will not be in the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, find that.
I can't find it. I'm trying.
There will
If they refuse,
there will be no Sabbath breakers in heaven.
Right. Amen.
That's good. I think that's in Isaiah, isn't it?
I don't know.
And also, those who eat pork won't be in heaven either, it says. Anybody have any questions? I heard a bell a long time ago, but anybody have any questions?
So the fact of the matter is that, the commandments have been kept by Jesus already. So we accept all these commandments by faith, and we cannot keep the Sabbath on our own efforts. We have to just believe that it's been kept, and that through Him we can keep them all.
They can only be kept. Here's the, what is it, Revelation 14, verse 12. Here are they which keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. The commandments can only be kept by keeping the faith of Jesus, which is His agape. Right. By the way, it doesn't say who have the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. It says who keep the commandments of God and keep the faith of Jesus. And you can only keep the commandments if you keep the faith of Jesus. Yeah.